Vague goals, quite frankly, are for weak-minded pussies. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Start Today podcast. I'm your host, Chris Cavallini. Today is, in fact, a very special holiday edition of the podcast, being that it is, of course, New Year's Day. Guys, first of all, Happy New Year. I hope that you're feeling well. I hope that your mind is equipped, ready, laser focused, and just surgically locked in on the work that needs to be done in 2021 to get you closer to where you want to be. Now, the new year brings about a lot of opportunities. Okay, one of which that is very popular in our culture is to commit to and set a New Year's resolution. Throughout the years, I've had the opportunity to witness a lot of people in a multitude of different capacities setting resolutions and the manner of which they go about it. And there's research out there that shows that 95% of people who set a resolution, okay, will either just deviate off track or have given up altogether on that resolution by January 15th. That's 15 short days after they set the goal. And I will tell you that based off my observation, based off the work that I've done, I believe that that's accurate. I believe it's probably even higher than that, okay? Because the simple fact is goal setting is an art form. Okay, it's not just something you haphazardly do with no strategy, with no plan. You don't just roll into a new year and say, oh, well, I'm going to make this massive change in my life. And then all of a sudden you're in that flow state and it becomes part of who you are. Okay, there's neurochemistry involved. There's neurological connections in your brain that need to be basically unwired and then rewired in a better manner that suits where it is that you want to go and who it is that you want to become. The biggest mistake that I see so many people making as it relates to goal setting in general, not just with their New Year's resolutions, is not first determining what it is that needs to be sacrificed. Because here's the thing, in order to become something great, you're most likely going to have to give up something good. Okay, there's no exception to that rule. I wish there was. I honestly wish there was, but we have a very finite amount of energy. Our energy is finite, and we need to do everything in our power to do what we can to figure out ways to conserve energy so we can redeploy said energy toward an outlet that serves to our growth and to the overall betterment or improvement of our quality of life. So today, guys, I'm going to make this short. I'm going to make this sweet, and I'm going to give you some gold that I have a feeling is going to really completely and radically change the path of a lot of you guys' lives, because I'm going to identify four simple things that may seem trivial on the surface, but if any or all of these are things that are given up or sacrificed, I can almost guarantee a successful outcome with you successfully accomplishing your resolution or any other goal for that matter moving forward. But before I do that, please, guys, if you haven't set a resolution, I encourage you to do so. See, a lot of people, New Year's resolutions get a bad rap, and they get a bad rap because the overwhelming majority, most people, do not follow through in the pursuit of accomplishing them. Okay, here's the thing. You are not most people. We are not most people. Okay, the new year gives us an excuse to set a goal that will help us become something more. And that is an opportunity that I don't want you guys to sleep on. I know that I'm not sleeping on it. I know that every year I make a resolution. Okay, any excuse that we can find to set a goal that results in the forward progress of our life, we need to jump all over that. Also, if this is something you're serious about, something you're really serious about, we did a longer episode last year, around this time last year, on goal setting. Okay, the art of goal setting, I believe it was called. And it may have very well been a 2-part episode. If you're very, very serious about pursuing a New Year's resolution and setting like a real goal that will result in you going from where you're at to just a completely different place that you've never been before, I highly encourage you to go back and listen to that episode, because there's some great content in there that I'm supremely confident will expedite the process of you bridging the gap from where you are now to where you want to be. The next 4 things that I'm going to share with you guys, if you do this, you're going to have a significantly greater probability of accomplishing your New Year's resolution or any other goal that you set in the foreseeable future. All right, the first thing, this should seem pretty obvious, but judging by the research and the fact that the average American watches between 4 to 6 hours of television every single night, maybe it's not obvious as it should be. Okay, quit watching TV. Stop watching TV. Okay, if you're into video games, you play video games, stop playing video games. And look, I say, if you're into playing video games, I don't want to lie to you guys here, but I read a study that was done that actually showed that a alarmingly high of percentage of Americans actually do play video games. Listen, if you're not where the fuck you want to be in your life and you're looking for like the shortcut to get to the next level, and you're spending a disproportionate amount of time watching TV or playing video games, make this nominal, trivial sacrifice, okay? It most likely will only be temporary, but this will basically skyrocket your ability to make progress in a much shorter period of time by investing the energy, the finite energy, mind you, that we have into a productive outlet, as opposed to playing a video game or just binge watching Netflix. All right, the second thing, on social media, unfollow anything or anybody that isn't adding value to your life, teaching you something, or making you happy. If you follow somebody or something, some company, some brand, and if at any given time, the content that you consume makes you feel like shit, unfollow them, okay? Because that is energy that is being drained from you all throughout the day that you're not even aware of. This is something when I speak, I say this, I put this out a lot on my social. We've probably even talked about it on the podcast. We've talked about a lot of stuff on the podcast. So I can't remember every single thing that we talked about. I'm pretty sure that I have said on the podcast before. But what I will say is I've got a tremendous amount of feedback over the years from people who were shocked that by implementing this, the value that it essentially brought back to their life, and how it just created a dynamic where they all of a sudden had more energy, they felt better, and they now had an awareness of how significantly these people or accounts that they were following were affecting their mindset, their mood, and their overall productivity as a result. All right, so unfollow anything or anybody that makes you feel like shit. All right, next thing, stop wasting so much time on social media and just mindlessly, scrolling or mindlessly doing unproductive things that drain your energy. Now, this seems pretty obvious, but if you take a moment or a week, as it were, to inventory and audit yourself, I think in everybody's phone now, we have the ability to monitor how much time we actually spend on social media. Some of you guys probably don't want to know that shit. I encourage you to take a look and get an objective understanding, because we hear a lot, from people, the biggest excuse that people use as far as why they don't work out is they don't have enough time. Well, take a look at how much time you're spending on social media, and then ask yourself honestly at that point, do I have the time to pursue fill in the blank? Okay, if you're using social media, and I encourage you guys to do so, use it purposefully. Okay, follow people that you can learn from, people that you can obtain knowledge from, people that inspire you, people that motivate you. But don't just be mindlessly scrolling through your newsfeed because you're bored, because that is going to drain valuable energy that we need to apply towards other things. All right, last thing, something I talk about often, something I will continue to talk about often, because I believe it is extraordinarily impactful and a very simple opportunity a lot of people are sleeping on. Cut one loser out of your life, preferably more, but a minimum of one. Okay, the people in your life dictate your mindset. They determine your standards, and they're either making your life better or making your life worse. Okay. This one in and of itself, if you were to do that, I guarantee that you'll be in a better place in 30 days. You'll probably be in a better place in 10 days. But this is a massive one. Okay. Think about it. Audit your circle. Who around you is just seemingly always negative? Who around you always has some drama going on? Who around you does not inspire you, support you, or push you to be anything but the best version of yourself? Okay, here's a little spoiler alert. Oftentimes these people come in the form of your family and the friends that you've known the longest. Okay, just because you've known somebody for however many years, or because you guys grew up together, or just because literally you and some other person came out of the same vagina, that does not mean that you are entitled to have them in your life. And I know that might seem harsh, but look, like, if somebody isn't making your life better, they're making it worse. And we all have a responsibility to do everything we can to live our best lives. And that is simply impossible when we have energy vampires around us at all times, just consuming the energy that we need. Okay, so cut one loser out of your life. Don't fucking look back and just get after it. All right. And look, we're going to bring it home here. I told you guys this was going to be short. And I know the things that I just went over, it might seem so elementary and so basic. And the reason they seem that way is because they are. But the most elementary and basic things are also the most essential and impactful. And I guarantee you, if you do these things, you will then be in a much better position to actually follow through and do the work that is needed long enough to see the results that you're after with the goals that you set or the resolution that you make. Okay. Now, when you're making your resolution and you're setting your goals, you have to make sure that they're clearly defined. Okay. Goals that are clearly defined are easy to measure, and you can only control what you can measure. So let's go ahead and write that down, because the more you write it down, the more you put it on paper, it activates that law of attraction. There's just something between the hand putting something on paper and writing it down in as critical detail as humanly possible. Okay. That is a step that is often overlooked. Okay. You have to write your goals and be super specific and be meticulously detailed regarding what you want to do. Okay. When you want to accomplish it by, and most importantly, why it's important that you make this happen. Okay. Vague goals, quite frankly, are for weak-minded pussies. That's just the truth. Okay, they're for people who would rather just give themselves that little sense of security and safety net to ultimately justify, letting themselves off the hook or quitting when things get difficult. Okay, the people who, set the vague goals, they're the ones who are going to pretend to be ambitious and just essentially are the ones who are always allowing their mouths to write checks that their asses can't cash. They're the same people who never deploy any real discipline or focus toward what they really want. And they're also the same people to quit anytime shit gets hard. They're not going to be able to do the work required consistently enough to get the result, because they take a half step, kind of dip your toe in approach when they really need to be going all in. Your goals are going to require you to go all in. You're going to have to go all in with your mindset. You're going to have to go all in with your level of action. You're going to have to go all in towards this goal. So if we're writing these little bullshit, vague goals that are just kind of open-ended and open to interpretation, you're basically sending a message of indifference to the universe. And the universe is not going to reciprocate with what you want. It's going to reciprocate with what you're thinking or what you're saying. So don't be like those people. Sit down and decide what you want. Like, what the fuck do you want? What do you really want? Who do you want to become? All right, write it down on paper and write it clear, and write as much as you feel needs to be written to articulate what it is that you want to make happen. And then you go work your ass off every day to make it happen. Plan for setbacks and unexpected challenges to come up. But when they do, instead of being a bitch and backing down, look at it as an opportunity to test your will and figure out what the fuck you're made of. If you can't learn to operate in less than ideal conditions, I'm sorry, but at best, all you'll ever be is average. That is a fact. If you cannot learn to not just operate, but thrive in the worst conditions possible, plan on living a mediocre life. If you keep waiting for everything to align and circumstances to be perfect, you're going to be waiting for a long time, my friends. Okay? Conditions are never going to be ideal, and it's always going to be harder than what you think. Now, what the are you going to do about it?